Other folks. All right, perfect. We're good to go there. All right, y'all. So quickly, I'm just going to go back to our Alala project and make sure that you know everything you're submitting. You're submitting it into this module. Our rubric is here. All the things you're being graded on in relation to this assignment. The total points is 120. And you're turning in all of your process work. You're turning in your harvested information, information research, brainstorming, visual research, and your thumbnails. And then in terms of your digital file, you're turning in one native AI file, so one native Illustrator file, and you're turning in one PDF file, right? Go for it.
I have two questions. The first one was for native AI file.
Yeah.
That's just a regular AI file.
Yeah, so native file format, it just means like the file type that software saves to in general. So like a native AI file is like just a native Illustrator file. Native InDesign file just has the file extension like ID. So it's like the thing that software saves to that is like most compatible with it, right?
And the other question was if we're missing something or something is just pretty short or poor, like for example our information research, it's just not long, it's just pretty much not there, but it's
turn in whatever you have.
Lost points though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when I go through and I grade this, like I'll be assessing, these are like the different quality or the different points I'm assessing based on, right? So like harvesting, like we have, it's either done completely perfect or there's some things missing, so you'll like lose points. Same thing for visual research, brainstorming, and all of those things, right? And go for it.
Can we like fix our final product to make it like how we wanted it, or
yeah, so the submission date on this is, oh, that's today. Yeah, so if you want to make some adjustments, you can, but just make sure you get it, you know, turned in by end of day today, right? The points on that is, oh, I think I took it off. Yeah, I used to have like a thing on here that said completion, and that was like your on time, not on time thing, but like people need grace. So but yeah, so all of these things, this is what you're turning in. And down here at the bottom, there's like, you know, the specifications, but all of you guys, like we went through all that today. We did our critique in terms of the best way to turn it in. And I can add this in here in case you don't remember it. You can put everything in a Google Doc, like, or not a Google Doc, a Google folder. So you'll have like all of your things in your Google folder and turn it in. Do not turn in a singular document. That's like you can turn in a singular document that has your process work contained in it, but don't have all your process work and then like your like design on a page in this Google Doc, because I need to be able to open it up and check specifications and stuff like that, right? So, okay. And I can add that information here to make it a little bit more clear. All right, so let's get into our new project. So this one's more conceptual in its existence, and I have a video here. It may be a bit different. This video description is based on like us being online, but we're in person, so this applies more to you guys than it may to all of you guys that are in this room physically with me. This project is all about expanding your ability to create conceptual ideas. We will start with you picking 3 words to use as the guiding force behind your poster design. This will be a challenge for you. The words can be anything, but there are rules. One of the words has to be a verb, one of them has to be an adjective, and then one of them has to be an opposite of the first 2 words. I'm not saying you don't know what a verb or an adjective is, but I'm gonna go ahead and break it down. So a verb is an action, right? Any word that like kick, jump, kiss, all of those are actions. And then an adjective is a descriptor. So bright, dark, beautiful, ugly, rough, like all of those are adjectives. They describe a thing, right? And then the opposite, you know what an opposite is. It needs to be an opposite of either one of these words. So say your verb is like jump, maybe your adjective is fall or sit or stuck or still, right? So I say all of those different things to let you know that there's an array of different types of opposites that you can associate with a single word, right? So our project is going to start there, and it's conceptual. And I have some examples here for you. So once you have your words, they are yours to work with. You can't change them. They are your words. You will use these 3 words to create a poster composition that expresses their meanings or definitions. This project is about teaching you the important skill of conceptualizing and visualizing ideas that are essentially non-visual. So we had a little of that with the city of Olalla. You came up with whatever your sign topic was, and you had to figure out how do you represent that visually without words, without telling someone that this is what you're trying to communicate, right? You will also use our design principles, so you want to keep in mind, like, the principles of color, hierarchy, grid, all of these different things that we've been talking about over the last 12 weeks or however many weeks we've been doing this. Like, everything's at play here. You have no color restrictions. Our last project, you had color restrictions. This one, no color restrictions. You can do whatever you want, right? So about the poster, our end result will be digital. We're going to use our process all the way through the same way we've done for our last 2 projects. I already said you have complete freedom in terms of color. Our dimensions are 11 by 14. You can't use any text, no letter forms, no numbers allowed. We need to be able to understand what you're trying to communicate to us without you telling us what it means, right? And then this important part, you're also going to write a short essay. I say essay, that's a strong word. What I mean is you're going to write 1 to 2 paragraphs explaining how you've used the design principles and how your composition expresses the meaning of your words. The reason why I'm doing this is because design needs to be intentional. This is a strategic process. So you need to understand what design decisions did you make in order to convey your idea, and what design principles are you using, and how is it really working to convey what you're saying. Even if your poster doesn't convey what you wanted to say, I want you to know how you tried to make it convey what you're trying to say, right? What are you going to turn in? Again, all of our process work. So harvesting, we're going to do that right now. You guys can ask questions. Your information research, brainstorming, all of those parts, your paragraph, and then you're going to turn in 2 files. Again, your Illustrator file and a PDF file, right? Our educational goals here are to conceptualize something that's not visual into something visual, communicate a message that is readable to an audience, improve your ability to plan strategically, and then to show your understanding of the design principles that we've covered so far, right? So that's the project. You're going to give yourself 3 words, and you're going to try to visually represent that in a composition. And when I say composition, I mean a composition. All of the bits and pieces are working together. You're not going to make a poster that's like, this means run, and this means stop, and this means pretty. Like, you want to meld these things together in a single composition so they're communicating something. These are posters that we're making, right? Questions, go for it.
Yeah, so like, can you just go up a little bit so we can see the examples again?
The example words? Yeah.
So like, if we were to do it for throw, tall, and hold,
Yeah.
does it have to be, like, I know it could be multiple designs coming into one composition, but does it have to be something that's all like kind of touching and coinciding with itself? Like, it's not a poster with 3 different objects.
Yeah.
Like, it has to be one kind of object almost. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like, I'm not
So
doing a poster of something that looks like a throw.
Maybe.
Corner or something that's tall.
Yeah.
It's like this.
So it depends, right? We're going to go through our process, and through our process, like, it's going to help you, like, information research is going to help you understand the existences of these words that you select. What meanings do they have? What antonyms do they have? How can you approach these words? How have people thought about these words historically? Like, you want to wrap your mind around all the different ways that these words can have existed and could potentially exist in what you were going to make. And we'll do our brainstorming, which will give you all of those oddball things that you could potentially pull in for the way that you're going to represent this information. But in terms of like how your composition ends up, there's a lot of possibility. You could have like one ball in the middle that's like say we're doing like throw, tall, hold. Like maybe you have like, I don't know, this is all the top of my head. Like it's like maybe you have like a round object with like this like elliptical thing that comes off of it, and like one side of it is like someone in like a fetal position holding a ball, but then like maybe I am really making this up as I go, maybe one of the feet of this thing that's in a fetal position is a hand, and that hand is like throwing a ball. Like, right? So there's like, oh my God. So like, it could be this one all-encompassing thing that's like inside, and then like maybe the background of that poster is like completely black, and then you have, so it's like these things floating in dead space, like doing weird shit. Like maybe that could be what's happening, or there could be lots of different elements that are representing what you're trying to like convey, right? Go for it.
So then it could be totally like, well, not totally, but like the viewer or like classmates don't have to understand it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't, so the question is, do your classmates have to understand it immediately, like when they look at it? No. You can make something that's meant to be like looked at, spent time with, decoded, in order for them to like be like, oh, I'm putting this together and like this is the meaning. It doesn't have to be like this stick figure like throwing a ball. It doesn't have to be like with like a short stick figure right next to it, right? Like it can be more like a little bit more abstract and fun and playful than that. And also, don't use these words. I want you to come up with your own. So the two examples that I gave you here, don't use those. Come up with your own like possibilities. Go for it.
The last question I had is, does the adjective have to do with the verbs?
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. And like, before you get started giving yourself words, I want to say there's no such thing as easy words. Right? There's some words, like folks are always like, the way that I do this sometimes is that I let you guys give each other words, because like it just takes the like nervousness out of having to figure out what words to give yourself. But there's like really no easy words. There are some words that are like harder than others, like if you're trying, or like ideas, like if you're trying to represent like an EMP, for example, like that you're gonna have to, like put some thought into figuring that out. So there are some words that are harder and more challenging, but there's no such thing as an easy word here, right? Cool. More questions? It's a more straightforward assignment, but than City of Olalla, but it's also really complicated conceptually. Go for it.
So our limits are no words.
Yeah.
Is there any other limits besides that?
Nope. The only limit is that you can't use any letters, any numbers, any symbols, anything that we like communicate with, like language based. Like everything you're communicating with needs to be like a graphic image in some kind of way, graphic representation. Go for it.
So no like exclamation points.
Yeah, no exclamation points, any of that stuff. Yeah. If you can type it on a keyboard, you can't use it. Oh, that's a perfect way to say it. Yeah. All right. More questions? Go for it.
So it was free range of color, but the proportions were 6:11.
No, the size of your poster is 11 by 14. right? And all of that information is right here in our, where are we? That's December. Here we are. So it's all in our week 12. So this is the project description here in our week 12, right? So if you forget any of those like detail oriented things, they're right here for you in this place. Cool. Go for it.
Since it is a poster, are you looking more towards like complex instead of more simple?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So this is a poster. It has a very different type of existence than like our street signs, right? So everything doesn't have to be simplified. It could be like you could have some really complicated visual ideas being represented. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. Go for it.
Can we use like photo elements for
Mhm.
collage?
Yeah, you could use photo elements. Yep. Go
That
for
was
it.
pretty much the exact same question. I was gonna say, does it have to all be drawn out or can it be
Yeah.
photo?
It can be photo elements. It can be all drawn out. It can be a combination of the two. All of that is fair game. Go for it.
Let's do like next week for this project.
All right, awesome. So next week for this project, we are So next week, so what we're doing now, you're harvesting and your information research for next week. And I really want to spend some time with your information research for this project because this is one of those projects where your information research can always be helpful, but this is one of those places where your information research can be really helpful because if you don't understand, like, this is going to sound all hippy dippy, but if you don't understand the existence of your word, it's going to really limit you in terms of the possibilities you're giving to yourself for how you can represent that information. Every word has multiple different meanings, multiple different interpretations. And like also like culturally, like a word can mean like different things to different people, you know? So like using this AAAV reference for a moment, like I could tell somebody, oh, I haven't seen you in a minute. That could mean I haven't seen you in a long time. Or it could mean like I just saw you recently, right? So so it can have multiple different meanings, like culturally, depending on like your background in that way, right? Like my grandmother was Filipino, and this meant a lot of things. Oh, you can't see my face. This meant a lot of different things. It could have meant it's over there. It could it just, yeah. It has all kinds of like the face pointing, you know? So yeah, like there's cultural things that your words that you pick for yourself may have different meanings in those kinds of ways too, right? So you want to really make sure you get it. Anything else? Go for it.
So when you say different cultures, so is this more about what we see, or is this more about what we think others will see with it as well?
So this is about what you see. So you'll go into your words and you're going to like figure out, like it's a combination of things. You're going to go into your words and you're like, this is what is coming for me when like after all of this, like this is the direction I think, or that I think is a good way to take this. But your ultimate goal is, even if this is the direction that you're taking, it needs to be universal enough so that other people can interpret it. And that's what happens with design in general. And that's why I like this project. Like, as a designer, when I'm given a project, I'm given the information for that project. I do my research, I do my brainstorming, and then I start to ideate or like come up with my ideas. And there's a lot of possibility there, right? And what I'm essentially doing is taking that information and packaging it in a way that my brain packaged it, but it still needs to make sense in a universal way and work for the design problem that I'm trying to solve, right? So it's your interpretation packaged universally. Make sense? Okay, good. Go for it.
Does it have to be PG?
No. We're adults.
Okay.
The question is, does it have to be PG? The answer is no. We're all adults. All right. I think we're all adults. I mean, I do often have high school folks, but high school folks are still adults as well. Kind of. All right, any other questions? We're clear. We know what we're doing. We know what the assignment's about. And you could always message and ask more questions if you need to as well. All right, so next week, harvesting information research is where we are with this project. Pull down your... I want to say this is the best luck I've had with this stupid projector screen. Pull down your assignments, and you don't have to... Yeah, you don't have to turn in your physical examples. You can if you want to. No, I changed your mind. Turn in your physical examples. Leave them on the desk right there. And I will see you guys next week.